Mercedes just revealed they might quit Formula One. And they're serious. Why? Because the FIA just made a late rule change so destructive, it could wipe out 2 years of engine development overnight. A change that affects energy deployment, hybrid boost timing, and the one corner of the power unit Mercedes had already perfected. And here's the part no one saw coming. This change benefits only one team, and it's not Mercedes. According to insiders, Red Bull knew it was coming. Mercedes didn't. And now, Formula One's most dominant team is threatening to walk. We are talking about billions in contracts, customer engines, multiple teams, gone. All because of one move, one clause, one betrayal. And the FIA? They're staying silent. Subscribe now, because what you're about to hear is the biggest threat Formula One has faced in over a decade. No headlines, no press conference, no warning, just one quiet document, sent directly to Formula One engine suppliers. Inside it, a revision to the 2026 regulations. One that looked harmless, until it wasn't. It focused on hybrid deployment timing. Specifically, when teams are allowed to release stored electrical energy after braking. But the wording had changed. It was small, precise, hidden in technical language. But for Mercedes engineers at Brixworth, it detonated like a bomb. Because this wasn't just a software tweak. This was the core of their engine concept. The original rules for 2026 were designed to reward innovation in hybrid systems. A 50-50 power split between internal combustion and electric drive. No MGUH. Heavier recovery. More emphasis on battery deployment after corners. And Mercedes had leaned into it. Hard. They committed to an aggressive energy-first design. Pushed development ahead of schedule. Optimized battery size, turbo layout, cooling flow. Everything around the original deployment zone. And now? That window is gone. The new rules restrict how much electric power can be deployed at low speeds. The exact condition Mercedes built their torque maps around. What does that mean? It means the FIA just pulled the rug out from under their engine strategy. It means 2 years of planning might have to be undone. And it means the one team that did everything early, everything right, everything by the book, just got punished for it. But Mercedes didn't just react with frustration. They reacted with silence. The kind of silence that only means one thing. This isn't just about an engine anymore. Inside Mercedes, the mood changed overnight. What started as confusion turned into anger. Because when the updated regulation hit their inbox, one question echoed through the walls at Brixworth and Brackley. Why now? Why would the FIA rewrite energy deployment rules? After teams had already locked in their hybrid architecture? Why change the exact section that Mercedes had already mastered, while other manufacturers were still catching up? The answer is what Mercedes fears most. This wasn't a late clarification. It was a reset. And the timing? Too perfect. Because only one other manufacturer stood to gain from this shift. Red Bull Powertrains. Their 2026 engine is still behind schedule. Test data is incomplete. Simulations aren't matching the targets set by the original rules. They needed more time. And suddenly, the rules gave them exactly that. Mercedes sees the pattern. Red Bull needed a wider deployment window. The FIA closed Mercedes and left Red Bull's untouched. Red Bull's power unit relies less on low-speed energy bursts. Mercedes relies entirely on it. And now, that strategy is no longer legal. Was it coordinated? Was it deliberate? No one at the FIA is saying a word. But the silence speaks volumes. Because this isn't just a setback. It's sabotage. And Mercedes has had enough. Sources close to the team say the internal phrase now circulating is simple. If they do this again, we're done. One senior power unit figure reportedly said, "You can't change the rules once the game starts. That's not racing. That's politics." And here's what scares the rest of the paddock. Mercedes isn't making noise. They're not launching PR campaigns. They're not running to the media. They're preparing. Because when Mercedes goes quiet, it means something is coming. And if the FIA thought this would blow over, they just made the wrong enemy. After the regulation drop, Mercedes went dark. Not because they were unprepared, but because they knew exactly what was happening. And so, they activated containment. Inside Brixworth, the engineering floor was frozen. Simulation programs were paused. Testing feedback loops were halted. Why? Because continuing work on a compromised concept only burns time and money. So the team pivoted. Behind closed doors, senior figures gathered in Brackley and Brixworth for a private review. No cameras, no sponsors, just core leadership. And on that day, Mercedes defined their future with two paths. Plan A, recalibrate. Stay in the game. Rework the deployment strategy. Redesign the electrical control logic. Take the hit, recover the time, and keep pushing. It's possible, but it comes with risk. Because rebuilding a power unit under pressure, in the final stretch before a freeze, means cutting corners. And Mercedes doesn't cut corners. Which brings us to the other option. Plan B, walk away. Not just from the engine program. From Formula One. It sounds impossible, but it isn't. Because Mercedes is not contractually obligated to stay past 2026. They have every legal right to withdraw from engine supply, shut down powertrain development, and exit the grid altogether. And after this rule change, they're seriously considering it. The team isn't making threats in the media. They're doing something far more dangerous. They're drafting exit timelines. They're auditing contract terms, supplier agreements, customer engine clauses. Because if the FIA moves the target again, Mercedes will not rebuild a second time. One insider close to the meeting said it best. We are not here to be manipulated. If they don't want us to compete, we won't. And that's the moment Formula One leadership started to panic. Because this isn't just about Mercedes leaving. It's about what happens to the sport if they do. Most people hear Mercedes might quit and think it's just politics, posturing, pressure, a way to get leverage. But this time, it's different. Because Mercedes is not bluffing. And if they go, they don't just take their car. They take their entire ecosystem with them. Think about what that means. Mercedes supplies engines to customer teams. They support infrastructure, simulation partnerships, data analysis, joint development on gearbox and cooling platforms. If they leave, that web collapses. And the FIA knows it. Because this isn't just one team disappearing. It's a full destabilization of the midfield. Teams like Williams and Aston Martin rely on Mercedes power. Lose that engine, and they're scrambling for alternatives. Expensive ones. Unproven ones. And let's not forget the viewership impact. Mercedes isn't just a team. It's a global brand. It's Hamilton's legacy. It's the face of hybrid-era domination. If they walk away in protest, after being penalized for innovating early, what message does that send? That Formula One punishes success? That the rules are fluid? That staying in the sport is a gamble? Behind the scenes, this is already causing panic. The FIA has reportedly reached out for private clarification talks. But Mercedes isn't making it easy. Because they've done this dance before. And this time, they want guarantees. Not conversations. Not promises. Deadlines. Sources close to the situation say Mercedes has set a hard internal cutoff. If another major rule shift is made, after final architecture freeze in 2024, they walk. That's not a rumor. That's not speculation. That's the line. And the people at the top of Formula One? They know what's at stake. Because when the most successful team of the modern era says, "We're done playing," you listen. Here's the part no one is saying out loud. Mercedes may not be deciding whether to quit Formula One. They may have already decided. Right now, sources inside the team say the power unit division has split into two paths. One, focused on completing development under the new restrictions. Quiet, careful, cautious. The other? Preparing for exit. Legal, financial, operational. Because if the FIA refuses to offer written guarantees, if another change hits the technical regulations after architecture freeze, Mercedes will trigger the plan. It won't happen in a press conference. It won't be a dramatic podium moment. It'll be quiet. A single announcement. A strategic exit. And the collapse will be immediate. Power units pulled. Partnerships dissolved. Development frozen. And the worst part? There's no one ready to fill that gap. Honda is gone. Audi is still in transition. Red Bull powertrains is unproven. Renault can't support the grid alone. Which means if Mercedes leaves, Formula One enters chaos. And here's what makes it real. Toto Wolff isn't campaigning. He isn't ranting. He isn't pleading. He's negotiating. In private. With leverage. Because Wolff knows something the rest of the paddock is only just beginning to understand. Mercedes doesn't need Formula One. Not anymore. They've proven their dominance. They've rewritten the history books. And if the sport no longer rewards innovation, if politics come before performance, then the most logical move might be to walk away before it all falls apart. So now, the question is not, will Mercedes quit? The question is, can Formula One survive if they do? Because if they leave, they won't be the last. And the silence they leave behind might be louder than anything they've ever said.